The Wave Cave Heat Death, May 11th, 2025, Superstition Mountains, Arizona. On the morning of May 11th, 2025, a group of 5 hikers began their trip to Wave Cave in the Superstition Mountains of Arizona. Among them was a 33-year-old man whose name was not publicly released. Wave Cave is a well-known destination near Gold Canyon. The trail is short, roughly 3.2 miles round trip, but steep in places, with sections of exposed rock and very little shade. The group started early, but by late morning, temperatures across the desert had already climbed past 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. For the first few hours, the hike went smoothly. The desert was silent except for the occasional gust of wind moving through dry brush. White arrows painted on the rocks guided hikers along the trail. But somewhere along the route, things started to change. After nearly 6 hours on the trail, members of the group began experiencing symptoms of heat distress. Dizziness, nausea, rapid exhaustion. The man collapsed. Around 12:45 p.m., someone in the group called 911. Emergency crews from the Superstition Fire and Medical District responded quickly. Rescue teams deployed ATVs and helicopters to reach the hikers. A bystander attempted CPR. Then paramedics took over. But the heat had already done too much damage. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The other 4 hikers were escorted down the mountain. Authorities later stated that extreme heat and dehydration were the likely causes of death. The trail itself remains open today, but every summer, the same warning echoes through Arizona's deserts. The mountain doesn't need to be tall to be deadly. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is simply the sun. The Yosemite Falling Tree. July 19th, 2025, Yosemite National Park, California. On July 19th, 2025, Angela Lin, a 29-year-old software engineer, was hiking through Yosemite National Park. She was walking along the Tuolumne Grove Trail with her boyfriend, David Hua. It was a peaceful summer afternoon. The grove is known for its towering trees and quiet forest paths. Sunlight filters through the canopy, creating long beams of light across the trail. Nothing about the environment suggested danger, but forests carry risks that hikers rarely think about. High above the trail, branches weaken slowly over time. Wind, rot, age. Eventually, gravity does the rest. Without warning, a large tree branch broke loose from above. It fell directly onto the trail. The branch struck Angela Lin with tremendous force. Her boyfriend immediately began CPR while a park ranger rushed to assist. But the injuries were catastrophic. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The trail was temporarily closed as park officials investigated the incident. Events like this are extremely rare, but they highlight an unsettling reality about wilderness environments. Even on a calm afternoon, in one of the safest national parks in the world, nature can still make a random decision. And sometimes, that decision is final. Geraldine Largay was 66 years old when she set out to complete a section hike of the Appalachian Trail. Known to fellow hikers as Inchworm, she moved slowly but steadily. She wasn't reckless, she was careful, prepared, calm. On the morning of July 22nd, she stepped off the trail near Reddington Township in Maine. It was a routine decision, just a short walk into the woods for privacy. The forest there is dense, almost suffocating. The trees grow close together, their branches filtering out light even during midday. When she turned to go back, the trail was gone. At first, she tried to retrace her steps, but the forest floor looked identical in every direction: moss, roots, fallen leaves. She walked in circles, then farther, then deeper. By the afternoon, she realized she was lost. She had limited food, minimal navigation tools, no cell service. Over the next days, she tried to text her husband. The messages never sent. Search teams combed the area. Helicopters passed overhead. She could hear them, but the trees swallowed her voice. She made a small camp, waited, conserved energy, wrote in her journal. Time passed slowly. Hunger set in, then dehydration. The nights grew colder, weeks turned into months. Her remains were found 2 years later, less than 2 miles from the trail. Inside her tent, rescuers found her journal. One final entry read, "I am lost since Tuesday. Someone, please find me." She had done everything right, except one step off the path. And in the wilderness, that was enough.